Actually, speaking of your amazing love story with Nicole, you met at G'day Australia. Is that what it was called?
G'day LA.
G'day LA.
Yeah.
If you hadn't both been there that day, would your paths somewhere have inevitably crossed? Or maybe this incredible
probably.
life story wouldn't have happened?
No, I think it would.
He's been dodging questions about her for at least 2 months. I mean, there was also this incident where somebody asks about her love scenes and he abruptly ends the interview and you could tell that he's angry.
And then, what do you know? There are these videos that come to light that seem to show him being flirty with this Maggie woman on stage, who, again, like we said, is only 25 years old, and changing the lyrics of songs, a song, The Fighter, that he wrote for Nicole Kidman, changing the lyrics, that were about her to something that was about Maggie.
At 57, Keith Urban confirms why he finally left Nicole Kidman after 19 years. And it wasn't just about work schedules like his team claimed.
But that body language was extreme. I mean, he recoiled when they brought her up, and he could have faked it a little bit better. Like, yeah, I'm just lucky it happened. Thanks, good day, LA.
Then there is this concert where he changed her love song for a 25-year-old guitarist. Sources close to Nicole confirm he moved on with another woman before the divorce was even filed.
But you're right, sources close to Nicole suggest that he's already moved on with another woman, a claim that she and her camp do not dispute. Keith has rented a new home in Nashville, and you saw his PR work quickly leaking the narrative that Nicole's work ethic, among other things.
This is what Keith Urban confirms about why he really left Nicole Kidman. That dismissive tone Keith used when asked about meeting Nicole wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern that had been building for months. The same pattern that led to what happened at his concert in summer 2025. Keith Urban stood on stage performing The Fighter, the love song he wrote for Nicole Kidman during their marriage. But this time, something was different. Keith wasn't singing the original lyrics about his wife. He changed the words. He looked directly at his 25-year-old guitarist Maggie Baugh and sang lyrics referencing her instead of Nicole. Video footage from the concert spread across social media within hours. Fans who had followed Keith and Nicole's love story for nearly 2 decades analyzed every moment. The way Keith smiled at Maggie on stage. The chemistry between them that felt too natural, too comfortable.
We were told that before anyone said Maggie's name, we were told by people who were close to Nicole that they felt that he had moved on with another woman. They weren't sure exactly who it was or when it happened, but they felt like he had moved on.
People close to Nicole had suspected Keith was involved with someone new before anyone knew Maggie's name. They felt it but couldn't prove it until the concert videos emerged. The evidence was there for anyone paying attention. Keith's body language with Maggie told a story his publicist's statements tried to deny. The flirting wasn't subtle. The connection wasn't professional. Sources confirm Keith had rented a new home in Nashville months before the divorce filing. He was already living separately from Nicole by early summer 2025. While Nicole stayed in their family home with their daughters Sunday and Faith, Keith set up his bachelor pad and started his new life. The internet went crazy saying Keith had been planning his exit strategy while Nicole desperately tried to save the marriage.
Keith has rented a new home in Nashville, and you saw his PR work quickly leaking the narrative that Nicole's work ethic, among other things, this is a family show, we won't go there here, were the problem. I mean, when is she not working?
Keith's team worked quickly to control the narrative once word of the separation started leaking. They pushed stories about Nicole's relentless work ethic being the problem. They claimed she was never home, always filming, too focused on her career to prioritize her marriage. The strategy was obvious, make Nicole look like the bad guy so Keith could play victim. But the concert footage told a different story.
Changing the lyrics of songs, a song, The Fighter, that he wrote for Nicole Kidman, changing the lyrics, that were about her to something that was about Maggie. So I think there's some smoke here at the very least.
When a married man changes lyrics about his wife to reference a 25-year-old employee, the message is clear. Some conspiracy theories reveal that Keith had been involved with Maggie for longer than anyone wants to admit. The timeline of when their relationship actually started remains murky, but the comfort level between them on stage suggested this wasn't new. Nicole Kidman's team didn't dispute the claims when reporters reached out for comment. The concert footage wasn't the only evidence of Keith's emotional departure from his marriage. His body language in interviews had been revealing the truth for months. Keith had been dodging questions about Nicole for at least 2 months before the separation became public knowledge. Every time her name came up, something shifted. His face would change, his posture would stiffen, and the discomfort was palpable. That Australian radio interview where Keith said, "Anyway, moving on," when asked about Nicole was just one example. The host had brought up how they met at a G-Day LA event and wondered if fate had brought them together. Keith's response was terse and dismissive. He had no patience for romantic nostalgia about their origin story.
Yeah? Are you a believer in fate, or do you think it's to Australians it would have happened?
No idea.
I just often think that if you weren't at that event, maybe you don't have the same friendship group, it may never have happened.
Well, never know.
You never know.
It's fate. It's the universe.
Anyway, moving on.
You'd like to think so. You'd like to think so.
The phrase, "anyway, moving on," captured Keith's entire attitude toward his marriage. He was ready to move on without looking back. The interview happened just weeks before the separation announcement, and Keith's demeanor when discussing Nicole revealed a man who had already emotionally divorced his wife. He became uncomfortable, evasive, and desperate to end the topic. There was also the incident where someone asked about Nicole's love scenes in her Netflix film with Zac Efron. Keith didn't just deflect or change the subject. He abruptly ended the entire interview. Witnesses said you could tell he was angry. The rage was barely contained beneath a thin veneer of professionalism. A loving husband would have laughed off questions about his wife's love scenes or expressed pride in her work.
He's been dodging questions about her for at least 2 months. There was also this incident where somebody asks about her love scenes and he abruptly ends the interview and you could tell that he's angry. But that body language was extreme. He recoiled when they brought her up, and he could have faked it a little bit better. Like, yeah, I'm just lucky it happened.
Instead, Keith recoiled, a physical manifestation of his emotional withdrawal from the marriage. He recoiled when they brought her up. Keith physically pulled back, as if Nicole's name itself was something repulsive he needed to distance himself from. The mood shift was instant and obvious every time Nicole's name entered a conversation. Keith would go from relaxed and jovial to tense and irritated within seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. But he I don't know, he seemed either too angry or too emotional to mask it. And that mood shift was, wow, that was in your face as soon as her name was mentioned. And in the end, he said, moving along. And he wasn't going to engage any more conversation about Nicole.
Keith was either too angry or too emotional to mask his true feelings anymore. The mood shift was in your face, obvious to anyone watching. He said, moving along, and refused to engage in any more conversation about Nicole. Lots of fans think that Keith resented Nicole's continued success and the attention her career demanded. While he was touring and performing for crowds, Nicole was making critically acclaimed films and winning awards. That resentment Keith displayed in interviews had been building for years. Keith's team blamed Nicole's work ethic for the marriage collapse, painting her as an absentee wife who prioritized her career over her family. But the real story was more complicated. Nicole Kidman had experienced a massive career renaissance while Keith's own career had plateaued. She starred in HBO's Big Little Lies and The Undoing. She appeared in multiple Netflix hits including The Perfect Couple. Her film work included steamy roles in movies like Baby Girl and A Family Affair that pushed boundaries. Those intimate scenes Keith walked out of interviews about weren't just uncomfortable for him. They represented everything about Nicole's success that made him feel inadequate. Keith reportedly struggled to separate Nicole the actress from Nicole his wife. But the deeper issue was that he struggled with Nicole being more successful than him.
The difference being is that she's not out really in the press. She's not doing a press junket while trying to do this. Like he's on tour. She's at least can kind of keep in the background, during that. Am I digging myself into a hole?
Keep going.
I'm not defending one or the other.
Their daughters Sunday and Faith, ages 17 and 14, were caught in the middle of their parents' disintegrating marriage. The girls could read everything online about their father's alleged affair with his guitarist and their mother's devastation. While Keith was performing on tour dealing with public scrutiny, Nicole at least had the option to keep a lower profile and process the divorce away from cameras. Keith couldn't handle Nicole's intimate scenes in films. Sources told media outlets that Urban tried to remove himself from seeing her as his wife when watching her work. He attempted to enjoy her performances as an artist, being excellent at her craft, but the cycle of separating art from reality became increasingly difficult. By 2024, Keith had reportedly resolved to stop watching Nicole's projects entirely because they triggered too much jealousy.
Sort of stumbled into Keith. Literally stumbled into him. and in my spontaneous way, got married very quickly, and we got to know each other when we were married.
Nicole had admitted years ago that she and Keith got married very quickly and didn't know each other well when they tied the knot. They got to know each other when they were already married. That unconventional approach worked during the honeymoon phase when everything felt exciting. But lots of fans think that rushing into marriage without really knowing someone set them up for failure. Once real life created friction, they weren't equipped to handle.
But you and Nick seem so strong, and it's 10 years. What do you think the key is, especially you guys touring around a lot?
I mean, look, everybody has to figure out what works for them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, different things work for different people. That's like, so everyone finds their own thing, but we just love being together more than anything.
Keith had described their relationship back in 2016 as being based on loving to be together more than anything. He said they were best friends who prioritized each other above everything else. That was when they celebrated 10 years of marriage, and Keith still believed in what they had built. But somewhere between 2016 and 2025, Keith stopped feeling that way. The love that once made them inseparable became something Keith wanted to escape from. Nicole didn't rush into giving up on the marriage the way she had rushed into starting it. She fought to save what they had built over 19 years. Multiple sources confirmed that Nicole tried desperately to save the marriage, even after Keith had emotionally checked out. She was the one who initially resisted the separation when Keith first broached the topic in early summer 2025. But Keith had already made his decision. He moved into a separate home in Nashville while Nicole stayed in their family residence with their daughters. The physical separation happened months before the public learned about their split, giving Keith time to pursue his relationship with Maggie while Nicole held on to hope that he would change his mind.
You can't save somebody, they've got to save themselves, which is a very big thing for people like me who go, I can take care of you, I can do it. It's a massive lesson.
Nicole had learned years ago during Keith's rehab stint that she couldn't save someone who didn't want to save themselves. She described it as a massive lesson when Keith went to Betty Ford Center just 4 months into their marriage in 2006. Nicole thought she could do all the work for him, make him better, but she had to accept that Keith needed to do the work himself. That was about his sobriety then. In 2025, the same principle applied to their marriage. Nicole couldn't save a relationship where only one person was fighting for it. Keith had decided he was done. No amount of Nicole's pleading, compromising, or offers to reduce her workload would change his mind, because Keith's issue wasn't really about her work schedule. It was about him wanting someone new.
I wanted a partner. I wanted somebody to share my life with. I wanted to have more children, and I knew I wanted that. And that's happened for me, but it's not through kind of just luck.
Nicole had wanted a partner to share her life with. She had been willing to compromise and change to make the marriage work. She had been focused on what she wanted from the relationship and remained open to working through problems. But Keith's needs had changed. He no longer wanted the same things Nicole wanted. Nicole filed for divorce on September 30th, 2025 in Nashville. She cited irreconcilable differences. The filing came just 1 day after news of their separation broke publicly. Maggie Baugh became the catalyst that destroyed a 19-year marriage. She's 25 years old. Keith Urban's guitarist who has been performing with him on tour. The age gap between Keith at 57 and Maggie at 25 is 32 years. She's young enough to be his daughter. Lots of fans think Keith is having a midlife crisis, and Maggie represents youth, excitement, and uncomplicated romance, without the baggage of nearly 2 decades of marriage. Sources in Nashville confirm rumors about Keith and Maggie's relationship have been circulating for months before the divorce filing. The whispers started when people noticed how much time Keith and Maggie spent together off stage. Then came the concert footage showing Keith changing song lyrics to reference Maggie instead of Nicole. The evidence kept mounting that this was more than just a professional relationship.
Keith has a woman that he plays, that he performs with. She's one of his guitarists. She is 25 years old. Her name is Maggie. There is some thought that he could be in a relationship with her.
Nobody knows exactly when Keith and Maggie's relationship turned romantic, but the emotional affair likely started long before Keith filed for divorce. The concert videos suggest a comfort level and intimacy that doesn't develop overnight. Even though nothing is proven, all evidence suggests Keith had feelings for Maggie for months or possibly years before he finally left Nicole. Keith hasn't publicly addressed the Maggie situation directly. His team continues pushing the narrative that the divorce was about conflicting work schedules and growing apart naturally. They avoid mentioning Maggie by name in official statements. But the silence speaks volumes when combined with the concert footage showing Keith's obvious attraction to his young guitarist.
When is she not working? And then someone with Team Kidman swooped in and said, not so fast. There have been rumors of infidelity throughout his marriage, particularly around their wedding.
When Keith's publicist tried to blame Nicole's work ethic for the divorce, Team Kidman fired back. Sources close to Nicole revealed there had been rumors of infidelity throughout the marriage, not just at the end with Maggie. The suggestion was that Keith had a pattern of inappropriate relationships or emotional affairs that Nicole had tolerated for years before finally reaching her breaking point when he refused to end things with his guitarist. The internet went crazy, saying Keith is going through a textbook midlife crisis. A 57-year-old man leaving his age-appropriate, accomplished, beautiful wife for a 25-year-old employee is a Hollywood cliché. Some fans defended Keith, saying he deserves happiness. Others condemned him for abandoning Nicole after she stood by him through his darkest moments. Keith had publicly thanked Nicole at the AFI Life Achievement Award ceremony in April 2024 for standing by him when he went to rehab 4 months into their marriage. He described how Nicole pushed through every negative voice and chose love when she could have easily walked away. Keith praised Nicole's unwavering support and credited her with saving his life. Just months after that tribute, Keith left Nicole for a woman 32 years younger. Sources close to Nicole confirm she feels devastated and betrayed by Keith's decision to leave. At 57, Keith Urban confirms through his actions exactly why he left. And Nicole Kidman deserves so much better. Anyway, that's it for the video, folks. Bye.